we'll start the meeting now. Can everyone turn on their camera if possible? Turn on your video. Please turn on your video. Thank you. Next slide, please, Alice. So thanks everyone for showing passion for your project. So we uploaded the outline again so we can fix it together as a group. And also we came up with a format and structure that everyone can match together. And also we are planning to, for the citations, we are going to put this in the MLA format. So keeping that in mind, we will give each other feedback. Since there are only Vietnam and Philippine members, we're going to give feedback to each other. Like we only have 3 groups today, so we're going to go inside the we're going to go inside the working document and give each other feedback. Maybe we can take turns. Starting from the Philippines, we can look through the book report and give a feedback as a group. We'll send the working document in the group chat, so wait a minute please. Since everyone is in the document, we'll look at the book report from the Philippines member. Can anyone, Alice, can you go inside the working document please to your slide? Okay. Is there anyone who can talk about their report from Philippines member?
Okay, I can do it. So for our project, we basically did a lot of research on discrimination against people with disabilities in the Philippines. And throughout the project, we decided to do 2 things. So we basically decided to focus on studying and researching on different case studies. And for our second one, we interviewed some people that had some experience in the topic of research that we were doing. So basically what we did, I guess first, in regards to the field research, we, not the field research, I'm sorry, the case study research, we went through several educational sources that discussed the severity, I guess, and the prevalence of the different type of discrimination that people with IDD do face in the Philippines. And we made sure to carefully carry it out. So in order to gain, in order to get reliable sources, so we followed very close regulations, I guess, if that makes sense. So to maintain reliability, we only went to domains that ended in .org, .gov, or .edu, and etc. And we made sure to figure out who the authors of these published works were, and we made sure to do some background check on that as well. And then for our second project, which was the field research, we basically went and interviewed people from this organization in the Philippines called Best Buddies. So it's a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to establish a goal to volunteer movement. I'm sorry if you can hear noises, but in order to create opportunities for one-to-one friendships with people with IDD and with people without IDD. And they do this in order to integrate employment and leadership development for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And what we did was we first emailed the head or the director of this organization asking if they had some time if they could lend us some of their time in order to gain some first-hand experience from the buddies in the organization. And we got around 5 participants, but these were all people with IDD, and we also did one special interview with the head or the director of Best Buddies. And we basically got all their opinions on what they thought, or their opinions on what it's like to be a person with IDD living in the Philippines, their opinions on the education system and how the government and how well the government is doing in order to teach the civilians or the people of the Philippines and get them up to date on this subject, and as well as their personal experiences and what they've experienced in terms of, I guess, the types of discrimination they faced, what they would do to improve the livelihood of people with IDD in the Philippines, and just, I guess, we got some of their opinions on what they thought we could do to improve society and make it more, I guess, make it more, sorry, to make it more, to make it easier for them to live in such an ableist society, I guess, especially in Asia. Yeah, that's basically just a short summary of what we did. You can read it more in depth in the essay that we put in the book document. But yeah. And if anyone else wants to add on.
Is this the right part of your report?
Yeah, that's a report.
Oh, okay. So going back to the presentation. Oh, thank you for your presentation. It was a great project. So here are the points that we have to go over for the peer feedback. We will share the presentation through the chat box, so you guys can check what you guys have, check the requirements for the peer feedback. Put this in the slide, and we will take about 10 minutes to give feedback for the Philippines members in the book report. In the Google document, can you guys change into suggesting mode? Do you know how to do that? Okay, so please change the setting to suggesting mode and give some helpful feedbacks to Philippines members. If you want, you can talk through the microphone, so feel free to speak here. Yeah.
Okay, in my part, I don't really have a lot to say about your report because I think you guys did a really good job on it. And I really liked your special interview. I think that was a really nice idea. I think the format is the only thing that you guys have to change. Does anyone else have any feedback for the Philippines report?
Add anything more? I think the project's really, really great already. So props to the Philippines.
Okay, yeah. I also agree. Does anyone else have anything to add, or you guys all think it's a really nice report? Yeah, I guess then we could move on to maybe another country's report. And yeah, the only thing you guys have to change is the format. Just follow the format that we have on our format document and everything will be fine.
Now we'll move on to give feedbacks for the Vietnam ambassadors. Can anyone give some brief introduction about their project?
Yep, just one moment. So we did follow through with most of the project proposal. We began with our introduction. And for our topics of investigation, we initially began with psychology, but we also expanded onto history. So because we think gender discrimination has been and will be for quite a while, an issue that's lasted in Vietnam. So our research question was, what are the causes and effects of gender discrimination in the Vietnamese society? And how can this knowledge be applied to promote peace and social justice? So with our methodological approach, we did have two parts to it. We had a case study research where we would refer to sources online to really understand what the prevalence of gender discrimination in Vietnam was like. So that was divided into three parts. The first was employment and occupation. We did gather some statistics from Statista, which is a credible source for statistics. We also explored politics and governing. There was this author by the surname of Chung. She had a very insightful journal, which was posted on JSTOR, and we referred to that in this section. And the final and third part was families, literature, and social life. This is where we kind of delved into like our own personal experiences. One kind of like the keystone of this section is how gender discrimination is portrayed in Vietnamese literature, and you can read through it. It's about the folktale of Tam Cam. So it's a pretty famous folktale in Vietnam. We after this section, we did plan to move on to the field research where we would actually conduct interviews, but unfortunately, since the beginning of May, where we did initially plan to do that, Vietnam went into lockdown for to combat the fourth coronavirus wave, and we've been in lockdown since then, so we were unable to follow through with that section. The next section was making a difference as a global citizen. This is where we discussed what we were able to take away from our experience when doing this project, and it's divided into 4 parts. So aim for deeper understanding, raising awareness, reflecting on yourself, being challengers, and and the final part was our individual reflections, and after that was our works cited.
To give you guys some information about what we did for our project, we did a youth forum where we invited the first grade students for our education about the gender discrimination. Before we did the forum, we did the interview with Dr. Ha, so we can collect the information from the expert's point of view. And after the interview, we create the learning material and taught the students through the Zoom. And after the project, we gathered some interviews, and we measured our success of the project after hearing about the students' opinions about the forum. And we noticed that they were able to notice that the gender discrimination can happen to anyone, not just the women. And also they got to realize that they experienced gender discrimination in their daily lives, which they ignored because they didn't have enough information about what the gender discrimination is. So our project was pretty successful, even though we had to overcome some obstacles due to the COVID-19 regulations. Do you guys have any comments that you guys want to give to us?
I really like your guys' idea about your research questions based on changing the perceptions of the youth, and I think that's pretty neat because our future is going to be the youth, and to tackle this issue of gender discrimination, I feel like it's more efficient to like focus on the youth and and implement correct perceptions about discrimination and gender as a whole. So I think that's a really unique and interesting part of your report.
Thank you. Any comments from Philippine members?
Basically what the last ambassador said, but to add on, I really liked the different questions you asked for your interview. I thought they really gave the interviewees the opportunity to give such a wide variety of answers and really help us reflect on the discrimination that's faced in Korea. So sorry.
Okay, now we are done with the feedback session and we'll continue the presentation.
Okay, so now, because we'll be publishing a book with these reports, we need to have a front cover as well as a back cover. So we're looking for some designers or artists who can volunteer for this part. And if you volunteer, you'll be your name will be up for it as a main cover designer. So if any of you would like to take on this task, please give us a message. Yeah, so do we have any volunteers right now? Okay, yeah, if you guys would like to volunteer just I don't know, after this meeting, please send us a message and we'll really appreciate if you volunteer. So now we would like for you guys to write a list of names who have helped you know about this project or just help you in general during your the project process. And we'll have an acknowledgement session at the end of the book. So we would like for you guys to write all the names that you can think of in this document. And we'll share this link with you through Zoom.